Well, hello there.
Hey Victor, how are you tonight?
I'm pretty good. How about yourselves?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Well, welcome, game table cafe community, or whoever is stumbling across this out there, uh, for the tabletop talk episode 5. Myself, Victor, will be hosting it and interviewing a couple guests here. I have brothers Doug and Tim here to talk to tonight.
And you notice we can't be in the same location.
Now, is that really full blown your choice that you're deciding at? Like, are you using this as an excuse to get away from each other?
Pretty much. We're just at opposite ends of the building.
At least 6 feet apart.
That works out. Well, I know Doug and Tim from Gaming at the Cafe, and we've played. I think we've played quite a few games.
Yep.
And when I was demoing games there, you guys have definitely always jumped in to try to play some of the games I was demoing. And I guess we've seen each other at PAX Unplugged, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So I've already sent you guys ahead a little list of some questions to look over and go through. But I think part of Tom asked me to kind of help jump in with hosting some of these, and I'm kind of excited to do so. And I would like to try to make sure I take any of these interviews a little bit just beyond the gaming hobby, because I feel like I've met so many people from gaming and I have so many gaming friends, right? But then there's a lot of them that I don't truly know who they are. A good example for this is I have a gaming friend of mine who I've known for years now. And here, when I got the house I'm in now, we hired somebody to paint, repaint everything for us. And like a month later, I was telling another friend, and he was like, "Oh yeah, didn't you know that so and so was a painter?" And I'm like, "What?" I totally would have like hired him to do the painting but I didn't know that he was a painter, right? I just know him from gaming. So I feel like I want to try to make sure I get to know people a little bit more, just beyond their gaming.
That's been the great thing about these last couple is just, watching and learning about guys that we see all the time at the cafe.
Right. And so that's why I like to continue to do. I want to, we're still tied to this realm of gaming, but I'd like to get to know people some more. So why don't we start off? Why don't you, Doug, you start us off and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, again, my name is Doug, for those that don't know. Live in Hershey. Grew up here. Currently, for those that do know me, I'm very active in the community, not only with work. I have an Italian ice business that I run. I work for Hershey Park. I work for my church. I'm a volunteer with the fire department in town, and I volunteer at the Boy Scouts. So stay very, very busy, and doesn't give me a lot of time to game, but that's why when I do get the game, it makes it all the more special.
Cool. And how about Tim? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I as well live in Hershey. Unlike my brother, I try not to help out too much in the community.
We are opposites that way.
That's true. I've cooked my whole life for jobs. Every job I've had, I've cooked in some form or another. I currently cook for Steelton for their school district.
Oh, okay.
Though it's been a little bit different now that the kids are at home. So we now provide meals away from the school, but still like to feed the kids.
Okay. Well, another part I like to throw in here was when I was drumming up some questions and thoughts, and I was kind of also thinking about how this plays into some stuff in gaming. For both of you, would you consider yourself introverts or extroverts?
Well, I think I'm an introvert, but my brother says I'm not. Uh, I am until I get to know people.
Okay.
Once I get to know people and I feel comfortable, I'm a complete extrovert then.
Okay.
Just looking at the Boy Scout way of things, I was the head of our Cub Scout day camp. So every day there, I'm in front of 50 kids singing and dancing and acting like a fool. But, other times I'm completely introverted.
Okay.
So I have a little bit of both.
What would you say, Tim?
I'm begrudgingly an extrovert. People often say, hey, we need somebody to do this, or go talk to these people, or why don't we send Tim to do something? And I'll go just because I'm a person that doesn't like to say no.
Okay.
I'll be like, yeah, I'll go talk to this group about this, or I'll meet these new people for some reason.
It's more so me volunteering too.
Yeah, I get voluntold a lot in life.
That's what brothers are for.
Well, good deal. Sorry, as if I'm looking back around here, I'm actually taking some notes, for myself. And, like I said, I really want to make sure I'm getting to know some people. So actually, Doug, though, I am curious then for Italian Ice, do you set up something for like an actual event? Like someone could per se like hire you to come out, or how's that work for you?
Yeah, I do fairs, carnivals, youth sports events, things like that. Not so much right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. I've done Hershey High football for 14 years. As long as I've had my business. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Yeah, I've had my business for 14 years.
Wow.
So just whatever I can find.
Okay. Do you guys, how about up next here? Let's find out for then turning it to gaming. How did you guys get into the gaming hobby? Tim first on this one.
I've always liked board games. I didn't get to play a whole lot as a kid, board game wise. The first real big board game I remember as a kid playing was HeroScape. I for some reason I remember vividly seeing the commercial on TV, which is like an old school Kickstarter one, because it didn't explain what was going on. It was just a lot of people shooting back and forth, and the kids were like, "Yeah, this is a board game." I'm like, I don't know what it's about, but I still want to get it. So that was the first big board game I think we owned as a family. And we had other board games, but that's the one that really got me loving board games. And then, a few years passed and I heard about, International Tabletop Day, and we went out for the first one. And I think that's what really got us hooked in from there.
Cool. How about yourself, Doug?
For me, I played a lot of games when I was younger. Before Tim was born. We're 7 years apart, almost 8 for those that don't know.
Okay.
So we played a lot of like Uno. I loved a game called Chopper Strike when I was younger. And then, just as I got older, I got involved again with Boy Scouts, and then in high school with band and wrestling and track. Got out of it, went away to college, came back, and then, like Tim said, went to International Tabletop Day the 1 year at 2nd and Charles.
Okay.
And then the following week, went to the Game Table Cafe there and was hooked. From the moment we stepped in there, I think I have it because I started keeping track of plays right then.
Huh.
We went like 3 straight weeks.
Awesome.
So that just hooked me.
So it kind of sounds like you guys are not, I wouldn't say new to gaming, but like newer at least to the kind of current hobby then. Would you say that?
I think it's been about 5 years since we started getting into it.
Okay. Well, following up with the next one. So what part of it makes you keep coming back in gaming? Like, what aspects of it? Is it the fun of playing a game? Is it socializing? Is it you like the mental challenge of figuring it out? What does that do for you, Doug?
For me, it's all about the social aspect.
Which is interesting since you consider yourself an introvert then.
Yeah. So that's where it for me it's so weird. But there are also times where I just like playing that 2-player game with somebody I know, and I don't want to play with new people.
Okay.
It really depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay.
But going in and playing with new people, meeting new people. When we started playing games together, when you invited us to learn some games from you, and play with you and Mark and Dennis and Susan, that whole group, that just was awesome.
Yeah.
And then the gaming group we had with our Dice Masters group, and it just feeling part of that bigger group, and just the friendships you build with it. Now, again, beating my brother in a game is also that's up there.
Right. That'll never get old.
No.
How about you, Tim? What makes you keep wanting to come back and play games?
I think I'm secretly very competitive, and that's what draws me to board games.
Yeah.
Like I was never really great at like any real sport that involved like hand-eye coordination, anything like that. But board games where you have to think your strategy through and you can win.
Yeah.
I'll sit at a table and act like I'm having fun, but in my head, I'm like, I got to know how to crush these people. I think a great example is when the game Space Base came out. Right. I remember playing Space Base up at the game table, and they were reading through the rule book. And I heard like the way to win this game is you need like the very bottom column of the row, which was like their form of victory points, but it gave you like 4 or 5 other things you could do. I said, I'm not going to bother with these other things. This is stupid. I'm just aiming for victory points. I just begrudgingly force my way to get point after point each round. I'm like, yeah, you keep playing the game the way it's intended to. I'm just going to break it and just aim for points.
Okay. How do you feel about yourself in regards of losing? Like, is it push you to just do better, or can you like admit if you're a sore loser?
I never get mad if I lose. I only get mad if I realize I cost myself a win. Like I'm like, shoot, I had this ability and I didn't use it the whole game, kind of thing.
So you're just mad at yourself, though.
Yeah, like if I lose and I knew there was nothing else I could do, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with this loss because somebody did better at this than me.
Okay.
I'm thinking, man, I wish I could do this again. Figure out how I could have done better than them.
Gotcha. Tim, up next, what would you say is your favorite style of game or maybe mechanism? Like, do you like deck builders or like a certain game mechanic like worker placement?
I actually looked through an entire list of mechanics to try to figure out like what mechanics I would like.
Yeah.
I think I had narrowed down to either deck builder or player elimination. I know a lot of people don't like player elimination, but if the game is quick enough, I think it's a good mechanic where you're like, okay, you're not having this person string along for the entire game. If they're doing poorly, you drop them out and you keep going forward. Some games, it's a terrible mechanic. Like everybody can agree, Monopoly. Like if it's a 2-hour long game and you're out in the first hour, it's bad. Some games I think can do it pretty well where you're knocked out and you can just go do something else.
Does anything come to your mind for a player elimination game that's good? I know sometimes when people ask me for like a game suggestion, it's like my mind goes blank.
I think also you have to have more people there because if it's just the group and you're eliminated, you can't really do anything. Right. It's one of the things where like if you're at the game table, it's okay because then you can just walk away from that game.
Right.
Find something else. I would say it's not a good home mechanic.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said too, I think it's that I think player elimination is good for, of course, a short game. Mm-hmm. Like if it's like a 2-hour game and you got eliminated half hour in or so, that's not feeling too good.
Yeah.
How about you, Doug? Favorite type of game or maybe a game mechanism?
I definitely love deck builders. That's my favorite mechanism, and I'm at a point right now, I think, in my life where filler games are also,
Yeah.
you know, I don't feel like I can sit there for 3-4 hours playing one game unless it's with the right group. If I'm with the right group, I can. But just those short, half hour to an hour, maybe even 15-minute games, I enjoy them.
All right. So let's say you have one game that lasts 3 hours, but then you have just a whole bunch of fillers, but you played them for 3 hours. Would you take all the little filler games or that one big game?
Well, again, it depends on the group. If I like playing with the group, you and I have sat there and played, and I tell this story quite a bit when people ask about length of games. Through the ages,
right?
It was like 8 hours, and that didn't even feel like 8 hours because I was having a good time with the group. But I enjoy. I think I'd take the filler games and play more.
I guess that the good thing for doing a bunch of like filler games is if you end up getting a game where you're like, yeah, I'm just not really feeling this one. It's over in 15, 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when people get into a long game and then they're like 2 hours into it and it's like they're feeling like I don't want to play this.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right, I get it.
Luckily, I haven't really run into that anywhere. And again, I think that's mostly because the longer games I have played with groups of people that I enjoy playing games with.
Let's take that one right into another question I had then for you. We'll segue into what are your thoughts or feelings about gaming with new people? So, I mean, Doug, you've already kind of talked a little bit about this, but I kind of wanted to form this question a little bit in regards to gaming at the cafe and the dynamic that I see sometimes where let's say the two of you are going to play Clank, right? And it's just the two of you. What's your thoughts if there's like two other people that come in and you can kind of tell they're looking to play a game? Do you have this like feeling of like, hey, they can join our game and I don't care? Or do you just kind of put your head down and keep doing what you're doing?
At the cafe, we've actually many times just had other people come and join us. And part of that, again, is the atmosphere there, where I love being able to play with other people. Tim and I had a good experience with that with Concordia.
Okay.
We were going to play Concordia, and two people were just looking to play something and said, hey, come and join us. And we all learned it together. We had that with Catan once. There were people looking, that was their favorite game. They were looking for people to join them. So, I actually, again, in that setting, when it's, a game group outside of that setting, we've gone to a couple other ones. It's harder for me to sit down and play with people I don't know, but it's a great way to make friends. And that's what this is all about.
I think a good majority of my friends that I have in the past, I don't know how many years now, have all pretty much came from gaming. I'd say some of my best friends are came from the gaming hobby, and it was a matter of just meeting a stranger at the table, right?
Yeah. I mean, when we started our little Dice Masters group with us and the Johannings and Jack and April, Kevin, who else? Jason was in that. It was great to meet all those people.
Right.
And now, that those are friendships that we have from gaming.
Right. How about you, Tim? Like, would you rather just kind of do what you're doing, or do you want to like get some new people into the table?
Oh, I love playing with new people. I remember one day going up to the game table with what I have as my favorite game currently. I remember receiving it in the mail. I went up there. I haven't opened it yet. I opened it up there, checked to see if everything was in it. And when people were coming in the door, I'm like, "Hey, you want to play this?" They're like, "How's it?" Like, I don't know. I just opened the box now. But yeah, I like playing with new people because it gives you a sense of, hey, maybe I'll learn something from this person. Maybe they have like other hobbies I have in common, or maybe they have like things that we could branch out into other friendships, more than just, hey, they're my friend that I play a game with every second Wednesday of the week kind of thing.
All right, cool.
We had that crazy experience of what was that Unrivaled tournament?
Yep.
Unraveled.
Yeah.
Really.
We were sent to Vegas, and so everybody I played with there was from someplace else in the country.
Yeah.
So that was completely crazy because everybody's coming, so it just wasn't people that know the Northeast. I play with people from Texas, people from California, from Canada.
Right.
And it was really cool though to meet all those people. I actually met somebody from Maryland that I became friends with.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Tim, you said about coming into the cafe, opening the game right then and there, and then deciding to learn it. So what's your preferred choice to learn a game? Brand new game. You want to watch a video? Do you want to personally read the rule book?
I will say every time we have a new game, about 10 out of 10 times, I make my brother read the rule books instead of me. I'll listen to him read them. Mainly because A, he's a stronger reader than me, and B, it helps me concentrate on what he's saying. Because I'll tend to read things and not think about what I'm reading. I'll just keep reading out loud. So I'm not a big fan of me physically reading the rule books, but I've read them a couple times. I'm more of a go into a group and have somebody know the rules, and we'll we'll play. I'll explain it to you kind of person.
Okay. And Doug, it sounds like you're the one reading then, but is that your preferred choice?
When it's just Tim and I, or there's a couple people at the table and we're all new to the game.
All right.
It does help me learn it a little better if I read the rules. But if somebody else decides they have to read them, I'm fine with that. But I can learn from reading the rule book, coming to game demos, like when you were demoing games and teaching us.
Right.
Those actually were some of the best ways I thought to learn, was to have somebody else there that knows what they're doing and walking us through it.
Okay.
And a lot of that, though, I think depends on the person teaching the game.
Very much true.
If it's somebody that's strong teaching it, it helps. We had a time where we had somebody who was trying to teach us, what was that, Queen Domino, and they left out the very center of the rule book. So
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah,
I've definitely had a couple some friends that I feel like I'm like, you know what? I love you and everything, but never again. You're never teaching me a game again. Like, it takes a little bit of, practice and knowledge of sometimes how to teach a game well. Yeah. And I was like, you just play the game, man. I'll teach them too.
Yeah. I mean, we had an experience. Guy was teaching us Arboretum.
Yep.
Okay.
And got to the end of the game, and he actually didn't tell us how we kept cards to score. So neither Tim or I scored any points because we didn't know we had to.
Wow.
He left out the chunk of how you score.
To me, that's kind of one of the most important parts, right? Like,
yeah.
How do you win? How do you win this game? How do you get points?
Because I thought, man, I'm dominating this game. I've got the longest trail of this tree, and didn't know I needed to keep a card of it. So yeah, it depends on the teacher.
Okay. I've had a couple of people in the past too that I could know the game perfectly and I could teach every aspect of the game, but they actually really needed to read the rule book themselves to pick it up. So those are some of the toughest to teach to. I
Yeah.
don't find too many of them. I mean, well, of course, people like you know, you need to read the rule book of a game you get, but it's interesting to meet people who have a very specific preference to read it themselves.
I'm actually a big fan of not reading the rule book or having anybody have read the rule book, just kind of know what it is, because you really can't rules lawyer then. You're like, I believe it says this in the book. Like, as long as it's vaguely what the game wanted us to go for, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I mean, Doug and I have played a couple games where we've got to like halfway through the game, then we're like, something doesn't seem right. We'll go through the rule book and they'll be like, we've been playing this all around, and we're like, we're 80% of the way there. We'll just play it wrong for the next 20%. Try again later.
Well, as long as I think that's a good way of looking at it. Just if you've already been doing it wrong, and you change it partway through the game, it's just going to break the flow of the game anyway. So, well, you guys have been mentioning some of your favorite games, so I'm interested. I'm excited to hear some top games. So, did you guys actually? Well, Doug, you were saying earlier about telling me about a site that I now have bookmarked. Pub Meeple, and they have a ranking engine. Yeah, I am totally going to be putting my collection into here and going through my games. So it sounds like you have an actual, what was it? Top how many? 300 and some?
377.
That's awesome.
And there's some games I realized I forgot. And,
okay.
The next time I do it, I won't enter all the games into rank because there's some that I can just leave out.
Right.
But the last couple of years, I've put out a top 100 on Facebook for my friends to see. And it's been kind of cool because then I have people who aren't into the hobby ask me, hey, what do you recommend for me to play with my kids?
Right.
And I've got people to ask me questions about it.
Oh, cool. Now, what about you, Tim? Do you have you gone through the grueling process of ranking them all, or?
Oh no, I'm not a big fan of ranking. I like to think of the kid. I like to think of the board games as my kid. I can't rank them. In fact, picking my top 3 physically hurt my heart a little bit. Putting them up on the pedestals. They know which ones are my favorites. They get played more.
I personally, until I have to go sit here and actually go through mine, I don't know if I could really truly pick a top 3 yet. So someday.
Like, for me, all the games in probably my top 20 could be interchangeable.
Okay, I think that's a good, because you know what, a lot of times it probably depends on who you're playing with, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you're just your mood at that moment. So, well, let's give a countdown to it, and we'll start with Tim. What's your third best? Third favorite.
I brought it with me. It's oddly enough a game made by Hasbro, or produced by Hasbro, I guess.
Ah.
And it's one that doesn't get a lot of love because people think it's an activity. It is Drop Mix.
Nice.
I think it had a lot of pop in circumstance when it came out because the game literally runs on magic and technology, but mostly magic. Because you play cards and it creates music off this board, and you play back and forth, scoring points that way. And it's just a very fascinating game to me for a 2-player game. I'm a little upset I bought it so early because I paid the once it came out price. Now you can buy it at 5 and below for like $10. I'm like,
oh man, it wasn't cheap.
But that means I can suggest it to more people then.
That's true. Did you go and buy all the extra packs of cards?
I have. I actually ordered some more yesterday because I'm missing 2 packs. I'm eventually going to write the company that makes it. Well, not Hasbro, but Harmonix.
Yeah.
Behind it. because they have like 5 promo cards that I really want. And on
Okay.
eBay, they're going for $50 a piece, and I'm not paying $50 for a card.
Yeah, that's
What
enough.
Tim really enjoys with that is putting the Transformers music with "Call Me Maybe."
Nice.
It makes a sick song, I gotta say.
Along with Casey and the Sunshine Band, and
Yeah, I mean, it's if people are out there, you're watching this and you never heard of Drop Mix, it's interesting, just at least pull up a video and just see how it works because it is pretty neat. I think my copy, yep, it's up like way up there on the top very shelf. I have mine. Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting to put it like that high up on the favorite list.
It's a good game for like a game night when there's a bunch of people playing. That way there's not like silence. There's some music in the background. Or even if you're not playing, just have it out. That way people can just every now and then throw a card on there. That way there's some sound going on.
Oh man, I need to get out. You're gonna make me now. I'm gonna get out my copy and because I haven't had my kids haven't experienced that one yet actually. So I have to get that one out.
I'm really tempted to upgrade. I found a community that they made old cassette tape covers for each of the playlists.
Ah.
And they sent you to a site where you can buy old cassettes without the plastic stubs in them.
Yeah.
Keep your cards in them.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm like, that's amazing. Kids younger than me will have no idea what those are.
Oh, that's cool. I'm writing that one down. All right, Doug. I have a feeling yours is not Drop Mix.
Drop Mix was in my top 50.
Oh, okay.
It came in at 49. So
49. Oh, awesome.
So my number 3 was Birds of a Feather.
Okay.
It's by Nothing Sacred Games. It's a fast little card game. You deal out the entire deck to all the players, and it's a hand management set collection. What you're trying to do is collect collect sets of birds from each habitat. So each type of bird is a different habitat, and you're trying to collect that. And so you play a card. Everybody plays it simultaneously. They play a card, and then you're trying to collect the style of bird for each habitat. And the way you see birds in that habitat is that's what the other players play. So you're trying to match what they play.
Okay.
And then, so after the first round, those cards go into the middle, and that's still part of the habitat. So then when you play a second card, not only do you have the cards that everybody plays this round, you also have the previous round.
Okay.
The habitat. And then those go away. The ones you just played go in, and then you just keep going through collecting the different sets of birds.
The voice of Bill.
Almost for me one time. I didn't do it because I was at the cafe.
Well, so wait, were you the one that was ready to flip the table?
Yes,
or was it someone else?
Which is so not me.
Well, do you remember the game? What was the game played?
It was Flock.
Okay.
The game of Flock. And again, it was the person left out how you scored at the end of the game to win. And only told us at the end that we didn't do what we needed to get the points at the end, where they did it, so they won. And part of that too was the person we were playing with.
Okay.
So, but I just walked away. I was more frustrated.
Yeah. How about you, Tim?
I was on the opposite end, Doug. I was almost the one who created the person to do the table flip, also up at the Game Table Cafe. It's when I was part of a D&D group up there. And we had a person join our group, a couple months after we started playing on a regular week. And this guy was treating D&D, like the math game, like some people do. It's like, how do you max your stats and all this?
Okay.
And everybody else at the table, we were all fairly new. This is either our first or second time, like full-time playing D&D. So we just like the role building, character playing.
Right.
So we wouldn't max out our stats or whatever. I played a very annoying character. And I'm like, well, my character doesn't like this new person. So I just constantly mess with him and just make my stats even worse.
Oh, man.
He went off on our dungeon master at the time, who was Evan, if you remember, who used to work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was an interesting situation. He got up, fumed, and yelled at everybody at the table and walked out. I'm like, maybe this is going to be it for tonight.
Oh, man.
Had to keep those buttons.
Well, let's move it on to let's have Doug, your second favorite game.
So my number 2 game is from Roxley, and it is Dice Throne.
Dice Throne, okay. I've seen it, haven't played it though.
It's 2-player combat, basically combat Yahtzee.
Okay.
So there's different heroes in there, and they all have different characteristics. So you roll your dice, trying to get combinations of certain symbols to upgrade your different powers, your attacking powers, your defensive weapons, things like that. And then you can attack your opponent with those upgrades. So yeah, it's very much just I consider it like battle Yahtzee.
Yeah, I pulled up some pictures of it because I haven't played it. It looks like you're just like a simple player sheet.
Yeah.
Some dice and some cards.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The cards are the upgrades for each character. So you start with basic weapons and basic defense. If you want to see, that's
Okay.
The game board for the monk. There's different heroes. Then you upgrade with rolling those.
Okay. Interesting.
And like I said, every character is a little different. So they play different, and it's a good time. You can play 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. A bunch of us played it at PAX Unplugged this year, where we just made up our own house rule: free for all. You attack whoever you want.
Okay.
With 6 of us. So it's a fun game. And again, Yahtzee's a game I played when I was little, and it has that dice rolling mechanic that just builds on it.
Cool. I see in the chat that Jen Johanning has said, she said Sean got her hooked on that. Got me, Sean, hooked on that game, Doug. Nice.
Yeah, Sean is one of the ones.
There, yeah.
He wanted to play that down at PAX, so we pulled it out, played it, and I love playing with those guys.
Yeah. Cool. Tim, what do you got for number 2?
My number 2, oddly enough, has my favorite mechanic of player elimination.
Okay. Made
by White Wizard Gaming. It is Hero Realms. They're oddly enough not a big fan of Star Realms. I don't know why. It's not the theme. I think it's because that's only made to be played one-on-one. With Hero Realms, you can play up to 4 people. With their new one, they've had campaigns where you actually have a little booklet. Yeah. So you don't have to play against each other. You can play against the game itself, which is nice.
What's your favorite player count for it?
If I'm playing in a group, it does work well with 4 because it's very fast as a deck builder. Because like I said, it's elimination. A game may only last maybe 20 minutes, even with 4 people.
Okay.
I haven't tried the campaign with more than just me yet. I'd like to see how a campaign works with more than me, but it walks you through. It's fairly simple. You get to upgrade your cards and keep your deck as you go along, so your deck just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
I think I played Hero Realms at least once. I'm not sure. Can't remember if I played it once or twice. If I think I remember, isn't it that when you kind of start your character, you technically you have slightly different cards than the other players?
Yeah, each character has their own unique starting deck, which is nice. Instead of having the generic same starting deck.
I'm a big fan of playing Star Realms, especially on my phone. And when Hero Realms came out, then I thought, oh, like, well, I already got Star Realms, so like I don't need, at least on my phone, so I don't need Hero Realms. But yeah, that's interesting that the idea how you could take it up to more players. So yeah, Star Realms pure 2-player.
Yeah. Now I think Star Realms has added things where it can play more than 2, but you can tell it's added on, so it still plays best at 2. But I like how Hero Realms added a feature where there's a campaign now, so it's like a little story.
Okay. And
hopefully sometime this week I should be getting their second Kickstarter in the mail, which is their next campaign box.
Nice.
Continue the story. Because it's nice because your player gains treasures and they can also lose cards. So your starting cards might go away from you. And you're like, oh no, this card that I really like having, he lost in this, section.
Okay.
So.
Now going back to you, Doug, before we get you
Hero Realms falls in at 76.
I was curious because you said that you like deck builders.
Yeah, I just haven't played Hero Realms enough yet.
Okay. Well, let's since we're back to Doug, let's hear what's your number one game that you've literally gone through and ranked everything.
So my number one game is a deck builder.
All right.
From Eagle Games, and it's Baseball Highlights 2045.
Now I feel like I remember correctly that you're a baseball fan.
I am.
Correct?
I am. I worked the last couple years for a company as a scorekeeper for minor league baseball. So I'm a huge baseball fan. In this game, it's classic deck builder with a twist. You're playing really a baseball game. It's 6 innings long, so it's 6 cards per inning. But the cool thing about this is each card is twofold. It has an offense and a defense on the card, and so if you can see on here.
Okay.
It'll tell you now this person's not very good. It doesn't give him a hit or anything. Here's a better example where you're playing. He has the opportunity to hit 2 signals at a time.
Okay.
But your opponent would play a card similar to this where their defense is on there that would cancel out all hits for that card that I played. And it also sets up their offense. So every card has both an offense and a defense on it. Works well after each game. You can upgrade. Comes with there's actually decks dealing with errors. Basically, players have bigger gloves. Cyborgs that are pitchers, which are can strike out the humans. And if you want to, you can buy every single major league team.
Really?
Yes. I've only bought to me, the 2 most important teams. It comes with New York, Boston, San Francisco, and I forget the other starting one. So I had to purchase Pittsburgh,
nice.
Being a lifelong Pirates fan.
Good for you.
Pittsburgh and Washington, being that Harrisburg is associated with them, and a lot of guys I like move up there. But it's a fun game. I know my brother doesn't really like it, but I force him to play it with me.
Now, Tim, are you a baseball fan?
I'll watch it because my brother will have it on, and I've been to enough games that I'll I'll know people, but I'm not gonna spend 3 hours watching baseball.
So then, I mean, obviously for Doug, I assume that like the theme of it obviously is a huge part then.
Yeah.
So then, so that Tim, but you like a deck builder. So is it the deck building part of the game or the baseball part that kind of like makes you like, eh?
I think it's probably the baseball part because it is a good deck builder game with the mechanics. But I'm like, I don't care about these people striking out.
Because I have heard a lot of people say that they really like the game, but they don't care at all about baseball, right? You know that the game holds on its own.
Now, I believe they did have a national championship for this and gave out a trophy. So I gotta figure out how to get in on that.
Nice.
I will say of all the baseball games we've played, board game wise, it's probably the best one. Better than bottom of the ninth.
That's a smaller box one, isn't it? The bottom of the ninth.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like I could picture him.
I like bottom of the ninth better as a solo game. I think it plays better. The weird mechanic in bottom of the ninth is after you get a base hit, you roll the dice till what was it, Tim? You match. I forget what it is, but you have to roll the dice to get the player out at first. You have to do it in a certain time. It was a real weird mechanic. But in the solo version, there's different things you have to do. There's different goals, different setups. You know, bases loaded, 2 outs, you're down by 3, you have to score, and then you can keep track of things that way, and you improve your team.
Okay.
There's a solo game, bottom of the ninth, I think is better. And Pizza Box Baseball, we've played. That was all right. That's a card-based baseball game.
You know, I am currently drawing a blank in my mind, and I don't even know if I can look it up quick enough. There's a gaming friend of mine that lives south of here. He is him and his father have been developing a baseball game.
Okay.
Boy, I wish I could. I've played it, a prototype of it, a long time ago, and he was trying to get it published. Yeah, I'm drawing a complete blank. Oh, maybe this one's it. Did I find it quick? Let me look. Ah, there it is. Lords of Baseball.
I've actually heard of that. I think they've had a Kickstarter at one point.
I can't remember. He has the guy, the designer, Max Gemelli. He doesn't live too far from here.
Okay.
But now it's a lot more of like a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Type
I have
thing.
seen that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should look up, see where he's at with that one. It was interesting. I'm not a baseball fan.
Yeah.
Probably one of my least favorites, but it was still interesting to play.
Yeah, there's the simulations out there like Pine Tar Baseball,
Statomatic.
Statomatic,
Okay.
things like that. And I haven't gotten into those. I'd like to, though. I have a friend who they run a league, like a Statomatic league.
Okay.
They've been playing every season from like 1900 to present day.
Wow.
They're in like the 90s.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool. Well, let's move it to Tim's number one. What do we got?
My number one, I was so excited. The first time I ever opened it up and played it, I played it with strangers at the Game Table Cafe from Sterling Games.
Oh.
I know a lot of people hate the tree. That's superfluous because it has no point. It actually makes the game tougher to play with. But I bought the upgraded tree just because it's pointless.
Nice. I remember seeing you have it at the cafe, and after I saw your copy, I was like, I have to go get this game.
I will say it's probably still the best artwork in, probably the second best artwork of any game I own right now.
Well, what's your number one? Would you say?
I think artwork wise, Parks just beats it out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
But
So-
Everdell, the art just drew me right to it.
Tell anybody out there who hasn't played. Describe Everdell for us.
Everdell is a worker placement where you get a couple of critters to start off with, which, they're all little animal meeples like a platypus or a squirrel or hedgehogs. And you start off with 2 and you go gather up wood or berries, and then you use those to build your own town off cards that says, oh, you need like 4 berries and 2 trees to open up an inn. And if you build the inn, then the innkeeper you can play for free, and he now runs the inn, and it gives you certain powers throughout the game. So it's a real fun worker placement tableau building game, I would say. It's really quick, easy to teach. It's not very heavy. A game probably lasts 30 minutes to 45 if you're teaching.
Well, I feel like that one depends on how many players you have and who you're playing with.
Yeah, analysis paralysis could be very strong in that game.
Yeah.
Well, it says it plays up to 6. I couldn't imagine
Oh.
playing with 6 people, mainly because of how much table space this game does
Yeah.
take up, because it is a big board. And each person's trying to build a town of at least 15 cards sitting in front of them as well.
Yeah.
Add in all the expansions.
Yeah. Do you have any expansions, Tim?
I currently have all the expansions right now. And I will say I haven't tried the 2 newest I just got in last week, but the first expansion I got does add a nice little twist to it.
Yeah.
Doesn't get in the way.
What's the new one? Spell.
You got Belfast,
Belfast and
Spell Crest.
yeah. I know where mine are sitting. Right behind that box, right there is where mine are sitting.
I haven't tried those 2 out yet. So I still gotta put those out on the table and see how they work.
Looks like it added they got more additional boards to line up. I think that's kind of cool how they did with the main board, and then the expansion boards kind of just physically build off of it, and it just looks so pretty on the table.
They did say the Belfast one gets rid of the main board,
Oh, okay.
which I looked at. I don't know how that works. I'm gonna have to read through the rules with that, but I like the giant board.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whimsical. Looks like a lily pad to go with the theme of Nate.
Well, this is an interesting spread. So Tim's got Drop Mix, Hero Realms, and Everdale. That is a cool spread for having types of games. And then Doug's got Birds of a Feather, Dice Throne, and Baseball Highlights. How long did you say it was a typical game of Dice Throne?
Probably 20, 25 minutes.
So
Not real long.
do you feel like it fits in the filler then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it says 20 to 40 on the box, and
Okay.
I think it's right in there.
Yeah, as long as everybody's played it before, it moves at a rapid pace because it's whittling your person down. Because once you get through those first 2 turns, you're it always has the same rhythm. It's like you do
Okay.
1 through 6, then it's the next person. There's really no change in order, and it just keeps moving along.
Cool. Well, I definitely from all these are some good ones that I would definitely, when we get back to the cafe, I'd definitely be down for playing. The Baseball Highlights one, maybe
Yeah,
not.
it's hard for me to find people to play that with.
It's
It's
just
all right, though.
the theme.
There's a solo mode to it. I haven't tried that one yet.
So that's I didn't have this marked down as something to ask, but you commented on that one. Do you like solo gaming? Is that something you like to do?
Sometimes it depends on the game. Like I said, Bob the Ninth I actually prefer that solo. And then Button Shy games. They make the little wallet size,
Yes.
18 cards. I bought a ton of their stuff at PAX. And actually, I have a bunch with me.
I was like, I thought I had mine. I must have moved them. I thought I had them sitting here. I had a
And
bunch of-
for solo, everybody's saying Sprawlopolis
Yeah.
is great, and I have that one right here.
Have you
I
played it?
didn't play this one yet.
I tell you, I'm not really a solo gamer at all.
And
But-
I'm not either.
I sat there at my kitchen. Oh, nice. I sat at my kitchen table and got out that Sprawlopolis. That is a neat game.
I can't wait to try it.
I think, yeah, you guys cost me like that $60, I think. Because we were at PAX Unplugged, and I think you guys were showing them off. I was like, well, now I got to go buy a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And it was like, the more you buy, the cheaper they got.
Yeah, those little wallet-sized games, 18 cards, and it's pretty cool how much they can do with that.
Yeah.
And it's got Tim thinking he's working on a game that size now.
Oh, cool.
It's just a fun limitation. Like, how much can you put into just 18 cards and still convey a fun game kind of thing?
Right. Yeah, cool.
When games like Frosthaven is making 9 million, but the box weighs 60 pounds. Well, you're hoping something's good in that 60-pound box, but when you get a wallet game that you can just shove in your pocket,
Right.
that's amazing.
Well, it's been fun getting to know you two a little bit more. Thanks for coming on here and spending some time with us. And I hope that some audience out there is watching and has learned something. And now maybe when they go to the cafe, where they can come up and say, hey, Doug, I'll play some baseball with you.
We can only hope, right?
Right. just bring it to the cafe and just set it there constantly at the end of the table.
But no, thank you for having us tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
great.
Tom came and said like he wanted me to see if I would do some hosting, and I was like writing down a list of some people I want to bring on, and you guys were like right there on my list. So yeah, I'm glad you guys came on here. Any last words that you want to say out to the people during this social distancing?
Just coming from the first responder in me, just please stay safe. Don't go anywhere unless you have to.
Cool.
I will shill for the game table. Check out their Discord. Check out their YouTube channel. Please join their on gameplays. I know tomorrow they're playing a game at 2. So if you're interested in joining that, go to their Discord and sign up. Keep checking out their updates to see what you can be involved with in the community during this time of separation.
Which one was it? Letters to Whitechapel tomorrow? Yeah, sometimes I hate, I was seeing the posts on that one and I was thinking about getting into that, but I just, at the same time, I'm the type of person I don't like to commit to something when I have a chance that I have to back out. You know what I'm, so I think I kind of want to play that one, but I don't want to lock myself in if I have to, deal with those kids.
But right now, I know I'm signed up, and currently I don't know if anybody else is. So,
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Nice.
Because I'm like, man, I gotta hunt down one person all by myself. This is not gonna end well.
Are you guys going to be streaming that one at all, or is it just playing it? Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, guys, thanks again for coming out, and can't wait to see you guys in person.
Thanks for doing this, Victor.
Yep. Thanks for having us on.
Signing off live stream.